coming into admin this afternoon to look through the checks.
What do I need to come in for?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
She just missed you.
I was just thinking you might come in and sign checks like you did last time. And...
No, I'm capable of getting up and getting around.
Oh, okay.
I'm blind in one eye and can't see out of the other, but I can sign my name.
Okay, who are we missing? Oh, I've got an empty table.
What?
Lori. Lori Dodson.
Lori's not gonna be here. I forgot about that.
Oh, Lori, okay,
She told me last week.
okay. Did you get that, Karen?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Or did she appoint you to be the secretary?
Yes,
Oh,
hopefully it is temporary.
When we get to talking too much, just go.
Don't give me any ideas. Trust me, it's been a long day.
throw something at her.
Yeah. Just zip it.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting to order.
Roll call, Allison Burton. Here. Vern Deatherage.
Present.
Carolyn Dillon.
Here.
George Jarman.
Here.
Ron McMullen.
Here.
Judy Tyler.
Here.
Judy Walter. Yes, Judy Walter and Scotty Walker.
Yes, here.
All right, now unable to attend is Lori Dodson.
First off, Karen, I know you don't want to do this, and I appreciate you doing it. I think it's good for you to be able to participate in the meeting. So I appreciate you coming down and doing this. Is there any public comments?
Yes, there is one public comment from Debbie Kirchhoff. It just says, please keep in mind if library hours are expanded, without expanding staff, staff will be overwhelmed and customer service can't help but be affected negatively.
Where did that come from?
Debbie Kirchhoff.
Okay.
Okay, so noted. Any questions on the consent agenda items? If we have none, I take a motion to accept.
I moved to accept.
I'll second it.
All right, Georgia Jarman moved to accept, Fern Deatherage moved to seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Do I need to take a roll call?
Roll call.
Oh, yeah, I forget.
Okay, Allison Burton.
Yes.
Vern Deatherage.
Yes.
Carolyn Dillon.
Yes.
Georgia Jarman. Yes. Dodson's not here. Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Judy Tyler.
Yes.
Judy Walter.
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
That is 8 yeas and 0 nays.
All right. Unfinished business. That would be.
Yes. This is Tracy Bratner. We'll have to probably slide to the side, Scotty. Tracy Bratner and Norman Lucas. I will just hand it over to them. Everyone should have gotten.
Is it okay if we stand?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Whatever you're most comfortable.
All right. So hopefully you have a handout. It looks a little bit like this. Actually, it looks a whole lot like this. So the first item, I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity to attend the Library Board of Trustees meeting this evening. Barb and I are very grateful for your support, input, and I think patience. Patience will be important as we plan the way ahead together. So your input is always welcome and needed as we're trying to figure out what the next steps are with regard to the RFQ process. So for those that don't know, a request for qualification solicitation, it was initiated for engineering services to assist in projects on an as-needed basis annually. Remember that we talked a lot about that at the February meeting, and the board, I think that was the right decision at the time to see how engineering services would pan out for RFQs. If we went out for an annual engineering solicitation for services.
And certainly it was the preferred choice of the attorney.
Right.
So since he's not here, I'm willing to throw him under the bus. Just for,
Well, you're on TV, Norm. So there you go.
I'm sure somebody's recording. But it was not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's just commented in an inopportune moment. Because what we've discovered is that these engineers are covered up with work, which you would not suspect would result from a pandemic, but here we are.
Yeah.
And as a result of their being covered up by work, I think they saw that the RFQ didn't just cover one small job, but instead led to the possibility of all kinds of work that they don't have time to schedule.
So, as a result, there was also some bad addresses on the list as well. And so with a new list and a more simplified RFQ, I think that we'll get a lot more responses. I hope. No wood.
How about
Air.
any?
We want
We
just
would
one.
settle for any response.
Just one. But the other thing was that there was a little bit of a truncated deadline timeline between when we mailed the RFQs and when they were due. It was a quick turnaround. But again, we really didn't know what the landscape was for engineering services. And so we thought we'd give it a go, and we're going to provide a lot more time. So after discussions, and as Norm has said, the other thing I would add, in addition to workload, Norm and I were just talking about this, you may have heard us in the back of the room, but not only are engineering firms and professional firms covered up with work, they're also dealing with a lot of really limited resources right now. And so that's stretching project timelines, human capital to supply chain issues for goods and services, and also just other resources. And so the work that they thought was going to take 6 months is now 18 months. And so they're starting to multiply those kinds of projects. And so that's the other reason why they're really, really busy right now. So start with a better list, right? Consider expanding firm types to include architects. That's the other thing that we're going to add to the list. Before, we basically just had structural engineers on the list. There were 8 actually. 5 of those were good, 3 of them came back. And so we're going to add to the list and make sure that we just get more paper out in front of more eyes is kind of the goal.
More qualified eyes.
Yeah.
And fortunately, under both federal law and state law, the rules for procuring an architect are the same as procuring an engineer.
The other item is that we're going to follow up with personal phone calls. I mean, we know a lot of engineers, we know a lot of architects, and so we're just going to pick up the phone and say, hey, are you interested in this project? You should have got this in your mail or via email. We'd sure like to see you bid on this or provide a statement of qualifications, particularly if they're familiar with the area or if they've done work in the past and that has been a good experience. Obviously, we don't want to call anybody that you've had a bad experience with. So I asked Anita last week about any experiences that, is there anybody not on the list? I don't want to call somebody that you've already vetted. So I don't want to do that. And then, again, give respondents more time. Assuming that we can mail on Friday, May 21st, put the library board's blessing this evening, and legal counsel's document review completed. I haven't heard from Doug yet, but I know he's working on it. He does have it, a revised version of everything. We could potentially be looking at a deadline of Friday, June 25th. So that's kind of our proposal, to you. And of course, if you have ideas or suggestions, we're open to those. We've not ever had a situation like this before.
Between us, and that's a lot of
Yeah,
years.
that's a lot of years.
Excuse me.
Yeah. What'd you say, Judy?
I said, you've not dealt with us before. We have a reputation we have to uphold.
Understood. So I don't, that's our proposal. Again, if you have any ideas or you have suggestions for changes, I mean, please let us know.
Well, I'd say, first of all, that we appreciate what you've done for us so far, and I can certainly understand that. I don't know how many of you may have tried to buy a board in the lumber yard, but it is really, first of all, can you get one? And then, secondly, how much? Yeah. So, I think the proposal looks reasonable to go ahead with and keep trying.
If we can't get an engineer or we can't find an architect, what would be our next plan? We're hoping we're just gonna find one.
Yeah, I really hope so, because the other alternative that we discussed with Doug would be going after a design build firm. And it is possible to do that under Missouri law, but neither Tracy nor I had realized that the state law that allows that has become far more complicated in the short number of years that they have allowed that. So I'd like to stay away from that process if possible, just because the steps of engaging and using a design build firm are really cantankerous.
That was actually our plan BA, B1.
And then Doug showed us the
Yeah,
rules.
and then he gave us the rules. We're like, oh, okay, well, never mind.
Let's not do that.
So,
Well, I didn't know if there was like a commercial roofing company, if they would even be qualified to do that.
If you were a design build firm, they might be qualified to do it. But the steps required to get them engaged,
Right. For public entities like,
yeah, for a public, under Missouri law, we'd be here till Christmas.
Yeah.
we're hoping that with phone calls and those personal relationships that we'll be able to get at least one, as Norm said, so.
But hopefully by that time, the rainy season will be over. Since that's what we're in right now. And the roof is continuing to leak. Also, the one at Knob, I understand, is getting worse. So I was hoping that we could, with that extended time frame, that we would be able to get that one rolled in too, but I didn't even see it on the budget.
Well, I don't think the roof at Knob Noster is as complicated as this.
No, it isn't. It's very simple, straight down. But since some of you feel that we need to go that route with all of the continuing projects, this puts us into that bind. Well, if you do it for one, you're gonna do it for another.
Is that necessarily so?
No,
That's the feeling I get from here.
I'm not sure that it is. If you're looking at a much simpler roof and a much smaller roof, then it might not be appropriate
no.
to have a structural engineer investigate it before you do a fix. Because if the roof is simple enough, and if the roof problem is something that can be easily figured out by a contractor because it is small and simple, you may be able to go straight to a contractor. And there's no rule of law that says you have to do otherwise.
Well, we thought we would with this one too, but that doesn't seem to be the way it is because we have some members
I
that,
look at this roof system, the first thing that it screams at me is you better check with a structural engineer before you get too far into it. This is actually,
This is many roofs in one.
I'll say that Doug Harris told me after the meeting, 2 or 3 months ago when we started this project, he said, we're doing the right thing by what we're doing, so.
At least for this
For
building.
this building,
for
yeah.
this building,
this building.
certainly. I've not seen the Knob building, so I don't know.
Well, it leaks as we speak, so.
Question is it small and simple?
It's a little bit smaller than this building, yes. And it doesn't have 7 different conglomerations.
So my last question is it a flat roof?
No.
Or is it sloped?
So I mean, we were concerned with that one before we were concerned with this one.
Do we need a motion to proceed, or how do we?
I would believe you would need a motion to supersede the previous,
Okay.
because the previous was to go after an engineer who could then inform on decisions year round. This is different. This is a simple, single project RFQ. So you would need to supersede the previous action with a new action.
I would take a motion in that case.
Whoever makes the motion, please speak slowly for me.
Well, I move that we proceed with these suggested changes.
So a motion by Georgia Jarman to proceed with the next steps.
I'll second it.
Second.
Don't we have to get rid of the old one first?
This one will supersede that.
Supersede.
I didn't hear that word in there.
I said next steps. To proceed with the next steps.
That doesn't mean supersede something.
Okay. I'll let you argue the.
Okay.
And did you get Ron seconding it?
Okay. Georgia Jarman,
Oh, yes.
Ron McMullen,
Yes.
Fern Deathridge, Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Allison Burton,
Yes.
Carlin Dillon,
Yes.
Judy Walter.
Yes.
That is 8 yeas.
All right.
Call your brother, your sister. Everybody you know.
Has ever heard of a structural engineer or architect?
Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
for your
guys.
help with this.
Appreciate it. We're gonna go ahead and exit, I think.
All right, thank you very much again.
You're welcome.
Okay, new business preliminary budget, Dita.
Okay. In your packet, you should have gray pages. That's the preliminary budget. This is the first budget that I present to you. We do not have to pass it. This is kind of our starting point for you to see kind of where I'm going with the budget. I do want to say Tanya did a lot of the work building up to this back in January. She asked all of the branch managers, all of the department heads, assistant directors, what did we see the buildings needing, services did we need? And then she compiled that, some things she said, oh no, that can wait, or, you know, she kind of started shifting. So then I picked up where she left off and went through this. The first 2 pages of your packet, well, actually be your first page, that is the preliminary budget that I see it going as. The next 8 pages are the breakdown of the larger numbers, so you can see where we came up with those numbers. And then the last page is the final budget from this year, fiscal year 2021. So you can compare last year's final budget to the preliminary budget.
I have a question.
Yes, Carlin.
Imagine that.
I hope I'm ready for it.
Well, I noticed that that salary raised $100,000 for the 2022 budget.
Yes.
And you left Social Security the same as last year. What
Yes.
is that raise? If you raise salary $100,000, Social Security should have raised
Oh, yeah.
too.
I missed that.
You missed it.
I missed that.
Okay. And also the group insurance raised quite a bit. And I thought when we changed insurance, that our contribution would stay the same. It was the employees' part that was gonna change.
Yes, the group insurance, also covers. Okay, I'm saying, trying to think this through, also covers short-term, long-term disabilities. So that is what we pay 100% of. It would also, I'm gonna have to look up my chart here.
Because it raised about $59,000.
Okay. Group insurance covers the short-term, long-term disability. It covers our EAP. It covers what we pay for health insurance. So I think maybe we put that in kind of more as a little padding, just in case. Like I said, this is where we're starting from. This is
Right.
gonna all change when we get deeper into it.
So,
A long way to go on that.
Yes. But it's something I can double check on and look at that.
But I just know, because what is Social Security at?
0.65%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're paying out $100,000 more, then that should change.
Yeah, I'll double check on that.
Another 7,000. Yeah. You'll know more when things get finalized, I'm sure.
Yes.
I just want to say, Anita, how much I appreciate the budget codes and the expenditures listed so that we have some ideas about what we're approving. That's a very, very good help to me. And I think probably to others, I hope, but I appreciate that.
I remember you requesting that.
Thank you.
I remember Ron requesting to have the budget before to date comparisons. So I listened.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions on this?
Well, I do have one more question.
Yes,
I noticed that in the budget was for this roof.
yes.
And I don't have a problem with that, but as Judy pointed out, we still need to do something with Knob Noster's roof too. So we probably should.
And
We'll think now.
I didn't put that in. Now, I have not seen a work order, Judy, coming in that the roof is leaking after Billy got up there the last time and put patches on. He has been up on the roof and put patches on the Knob building, and I've not heard anything from Laura that it is leaking again. Now, I did have Billy call all of the branches this week, double checking, we've had a lot of rain, how's it going? Concordia's window did not leak yet.
Well, that's it. We didn't get as much rain over
Eastern
than we did here.
But we have no leaks. Is that the general?
We have leaks in this building.
Yes, oh, yes.
Yes, this building is still leaking, and every time it gets dry enough, he's up there patching wherever he thinks it could possibly be intruding.
buckets down below.
Yeah. Now, he's been on the Noster roof before this last rainy season, and I know put in more patches. I've not heard that it's leaking this, okay. I can try, I don't know what a new roof would cost on the Noster building. I can try to give a ballpark figure guesstimate. I can try to put it in the budget.
And like I said, we've got months to get there yet, so.
Right, the final budget, for new members on the board, the final budget doesn't have to be passed until August. We do have to pass the draft budget next month so that we can pay July and August bills. So I will have it closer next month, and then by August, we'll actually know more about what our receipts, our income will be. I usually figure income low and expenses high. And as Susan Bonnet, who was our second director, always said, if you do that, you'll never bounce a check. And so I have always kept that in my mind. So anyway, that's kind of what I did, but I can try to put the Noster roof in if you want me, if the Lord wants me to. Okay. That would be under capital expenses.
Any other budget questions?
I just have a question. I guess the Missouri Library Association Conference, is that what MLA is?
Yes, Missouri Library
Why are
Association.
some getting so much money, others aren't getting? I mean, why? And I don't know, I'm just asking, why is there, it shows here $800, Kyle, $400.
Is that for, because you'll see MLA in there multiple times, because some is under travel, some is under meals, and we've broken that out, and it's what they've requested.
Okay, I saw where there showed meals, it also shows mileage.
Mileage, yes.
Okay.
Some are, carpooling.
Anita, it's Sarah. Can
Hi,
you hear me?
Sarah.
Hi,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say the reason mine is so much higher is because it includes my employees as well.
Oh, thank you.
Because what?
Her employees are also going to go.
Please, why, you know, we'll talk about it later, but I don't know why that many people need to go.
Oh, because it's a wonderful conference. It is statewide. You get to network with people who do similar things like you do, so that you can, if you have an issue, call them up. You get great ideas. It is a wonderful way just to get re-energized and excited about your job and come back and you just feel great about it. You feel good.
I need to get re-energized, I guess I'll go.
Well,
Yes.
You know,
I tell you what, you
teachers
need,
don't go that way, only if you go, they come back and you put all
No,
the
I think they
explanations.
need to go.
Huh?
I really respect your opinion and count you as a friend, but I really am in favor of the professional development. And it is not only rejuvenating, but it's a place where ideas happen and problems can get solved. You hear people who are worse off than you and learn from them. And you also hear people who have solved a problem that you are facing. I think if you can't learn in your job, then your performance is not going anywhere. There isn't one of us who doesn't learn in our jobs. And I think they should go.
Well, I'm not, that, but you were principal. Did all your teachers all go at the same time?
Not at the same
Okay.
time, but
Yeah.
they went. And we did have in-house where people came to us. where
Yeah,
everybody
that's right.
went.
Okay, no big deal.
and not everybody goes. I mean, all the branches are still open. functioning, all the departments are still functioning. We just try to get as many to go as possible, just because you come back with great ideas and just the rejuvenation of talking to other people, like Georgia mentioned, that is facing the same things you're facing. And sometimes you come back and go, thank God I don't face what that district over there is dealing with. And you appreciate what you have more.
Why didn't you put your position down, Anita?
You get another meeting,
Okay.
if we can move on to the staffing needs.
So am I getting the feeling I'm going in the correct direction and continue to work on the draft budget to be presented next month?
I think so. I think so too.
Okay.
I'll be in to talk to you in the meantime.
Pardon me?
I'll be in to talk to you in the meantime.
Okay. Well, I've got your email, you and I think it's Carlin who's on the, and Judy Tyler who's on the finance committee. So.
Did I get an email?
No, I have your email, so I'll be reaching out to you. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll catch this.
So if we can discuss staffing needs for to accommodate the expanded hours.
Yes, you should have a yellow piece of paper. This is just kind of a proposal. I have been working on for actually several years. I used to supervise all the branches, work with all the branches and their staffing. Then Tanya kind of rearranged administration, and now Kyle Constant supervises the branches, and I do more of the facilities and HR work. So anyway, so this is a proposal I actually made several years ago that with these expanded hours that have come back, I believe that Warrensburg, Odessa, and Lexington, Porter, and Waverly are all staffed appropriately for what they do and the size of their branches.
Can you say that again?
Okay, I believe that Warrensburg, Odessa, Lexington, Porter, and Waverly are all appropriately staffed as they are now with the expanded hours. It's now Noster, because they just have had 2 19-hour positions resign. So they're down.
Feeling.
And Concordia, even though they haven't lost anyone, Debbie is really needing more help for her. And because those two in Holden are all about the same size, I would like to see their staffing to be very similar. What they have currently is 1 full-time 40-hour branch manager, and then 3 19-hour circulation clerks. The issues are 19-hour employees. We do expect them to function just like a 40-hour employee, just with fewer hours. 19-hour employees come and go in a quick turnaround. Right now, Noster, it seems like we're constantly having to replace their 19-hour people. A year ago, it was Concordia. It seemed like we were replacing quite frequently. The branch managers feel like they're constantly in training mode and can't move forward. We have several 19-hour, not all, but several, that either have second jobs or they have family obligations. So they can only work the days they are regularly scheduled. They cannot fill in for staff who are ill, or if the branch manager wants to go on vacation. We're having issues with that. So my proposal is to begin adjusting staff in Knob, Concordia, and eventually Holden to one 40-hour branch manager, one 40-hour, or maybe a 30-hour, if we couldn't get 40 hours, maybe a 30-hour circulation clerk, and one 19-hour circulation clerk.
One extra over the three they've already got?
No.
Okay.
All that would be staffing those three branches would be one 40-hour branch manager, one 40-hour circulation clerk, and then one 19-hour circulation clerk. And that 19-hour would be coming in to fill in when they have programs or for lunches or vacations. Then that 19-hour person will be very floating.
What they're saying is the only increase would be 11 or 21 hours from a 19-hour person moving up to a 30 or 40 hour. That's the only increase we're gonna have.
Yes. And we're gonna get to that. Lower on your paper, the salary increase is during fiscal year 2021, we had 2 long-term employees retire. And one employee who had worked for us for 23 years was not replaced. So we've got her salary and her benefits sitting off to the side. Then another employee who worked for Trails for 40 years also retired. Her position was replaced, but at a much lower pay rate, $12 an hour less pay rate, because the person who was here for 40 hours had built up and had earned that much. So the 2 retirements freed up $63,627.20 in the salary line of the budget. So if you take a current 19-hour circulation clerk, which is track B, step 1, which it makes $11.81, that is the max they can make is $11,668.28. So make that 19-hour person up to a 40-hour person is an increase of basically doubling, but an increase of $12,896.52. The benefits for a 40-hour employee who makes $11.81 is an additional $8,912.35. So the salary increase plus benefits equals $21,808.87 multiplied by the 3 branches equals $65,426.61. But we've just freed up with the 2 retirements, $63,000. So if you pull that $63,000 in to help cover 65, I would only have to increase the salary line in the budget by $1,799.41. It's kind of a perfect storm that we had 2 long-term employees leave, and then these 2 part-time, these 2 19 hours from Knob Noster, because we're saving on their salaries too, because they're gone, they won't be replaced, but we'll get a 40-hour person. But I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, there's a lot of unknowns. This is a puzzle that I can't promise you that I can get a 19-hour person into one of those spots. I think I have a 40-hour person that would love to move to one of those branches because they live just right outside that city, that town. And they would love to be transferred over there, which would open a 40-hour position in another branch. I don't know if there would be a 19-hour person interested in going to that branch, So there would have to be a lot of flexibility, trust in what I'm doing to get this way.
So,
And I know Karen has a question too, I'm sorry.
Also, keep in mind that with the benefits, not everybody full-time takes our benefits, so there's a high probability that depending on who you hire, that money won't be used.
That's true.
I don't take the benefits.
Where do the
okay,
extra benefits kick in? You talk about 30-hour and 40-hour. Is there a difference in benefits or just in the number?
Yes. If you are a 30-hour employee, you don't get the full $525 for health insurance like a 40-hour person does. It's prorated. Plus a 30-hour, because your long-term, short-term disability, your loggers, Social Security, all that is based percentage-wise on how much you make. So a 30-hour, not going to make as much money. So we're not going to be paying in quite as much.
And so if those positions, we could get by with a 40-hour, a 30-hour, and a 19-hour, it would benefit us.
Yes. But I also see it could raise what I've got in for salaries. I won't know that till I get into the throes of it all.
so the two long-term employees that retired, who's doing their job?
One was not replaced. They farmed out her job to other people.
Okay.
The one who was replaced by someone who makes, because she is now on step one. The person who retired was way off COLA. I'm sorry, I thought he was gonna come in and the front door is not locked. And so she's doing that job.
Okay. So are you confident that Warrensburg, Odessa, and Lexington are appropriately staffed?
Yes.
I feel like we have too many full-time employees in Odessa and Lexington.
I'm sorry, we always agree with everything, but I don't agree with that.
Okay.
We need it there, like, what we have now, what we've had for a long time. And therefore, you're quite,
But is the Lexington circulation what it used to be?
you get it to be now, once they go in the doors and things, like, it starts getting.
Nobody's is what it used to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I said nobody's is what it
Right.
used to be.
Right, but I remember when Holden had 3 really good retired women working. They really liked their jobs, but they felt like they got chased off. So I understand that Mount Master has a big turnover. And they may not be able to get that age range of employee that doesn't want a full-time job, just is interested in a part-time job just to keep busy or to supplement the Social Security. And I know that happened in Holden. I know we had people there that were doing that. I just want to see, do we not have that ability in the other?
Get
And
retired.
it's not age discrimination to only hire people. It's only age discrimination to say you're not going to hire.
I have a concern. If you have, say at a branch, you have 2 19-hour employees and you're wanting one of them to go to a 30 or 40-hour position, and they don't want to. They just want to stay at 19 hours. So what do you do then? Do you have to let one of them go, or?
I don't want to let anybody go. And so let's say one of the branches, there isn't anybody, a 19-hour that wants to step up. I probably would keep that branch as is. And then because we don't have to change all three of them right away. I've got to do something in Noster, and I really need to do something in Concordia. And I think I've got that worked out tentatively.
If they can get it.
I don't know if I can get it done in Holden. I'd like to try.
Get what done?
Get the same thing, see if one of the 19-hour people would be interested in stepping up and becoming 40-hour. And then Holden would have, so let's say Holden, for instance, currently they have the one branch manager 40-hour and they have 3 19-hour. I think there's interest in one of those to move up to 40 hours. Well, that's still gonna leave 2 19-hour people, so they would be overstaffed until one of the 19-hour people resign eventually.
Or moves,
I'm sorry?
or moves to another location.
Or they possibly might move to another location. I don't want to let anybody go.
Well, yeah, I don't want to see somebody lose their job because they don't want to go to a 40-hour.
Right, right. So that would be a consideration that we might have Concordia and Holden might be overstaffed for a little while. But when one of the 19-hour people resigns, we just won't replace them. That would be in the future. Like I said, this is kind of like the perfect storm is happening. And now the other truths, Karen Hicklin, she was the first director I brought this idea to. And she was on board, but she was also kind of on her way to retirement. She said, wait. Rochelle was on board, but she wasn't here long enough. Tanya was not on board with this idea. Okay, now that Kyle has been supervising the branches and seeing the issues with 19-hour people, he's on board that, yeah, that's probably would solve a lot of our problems. If we had more 40-hour people in the branches. Kyle, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Would you agree with my statement I just made, or did I just put words in your mouth?
No, I think putting 40-hour positions in those branches would probably resolve some of the staffing issues that they're having. Yeah.
I mean, you talked about, Holden, maybe moving somebody up to 40 hours. What if they were willing or wanted to do 30 hours instead of 40?
I would be open to that.
Because they would still be eligible for benefits that way, but it wouldn't be quite as many hours.
Yes, yes. And actually, I think I have that situation in Concordia, possibly. They would be more, which would lower that 1,700 down if they went to 30. But I would kind of like to keep it, if at all possible, even if we hire someone at 30, I would like to budget for 40. So if that person ever left, we have it in the budget to offer that as a 40-hour position. Judy.
Anybody else have any questions? Because I'm going to make a motion. I make a motion that we direct Anita to proceed with the plans that she has set out here in providing 3 new 30, 40-hour positions at Concordia, Noster, and Holden, and that we replace them with 19-hour.
What?
And we take that preferably from it already in the system.
That we promote from within.
Right.
Okay.
Then we would just have a 19, a 30 or 40, and a 40-hour.
No. I'm gonna have to-
Sorry, Karen.
No,
You have to keep going.
As long as you all understand, because I will be going back and listening to this tomorrow. So, as long as you all don't have any questions about that, I will just take the vote.
I'll second.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we have a motion by Judy Walter and a second by Fern Deathridge to proceed with this proposal.
Okay. All right. Fern Deathridge,
Yes.
Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Allison Burton,
Yes.
Carla Dillon,
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes,
Georgia Jarman. Yes. Ron McMullen,
Yes.
Patty Walker.
No for now, maybe in the future.
Okay. 7 yeas, 1 nay.
Okay. Leaking staff, Leaking branch, expanded summer hours.
That is your blue sheet. Don't you love I've color coded it? That's something I learned from Karen Hicklin. Leeton Express Branch has actually contacted Kyle. Kyle's been working with Deanna Schuler. They would like to expand the number of hours that the Express Branch is open. Kyle, would you like to address this?
Sure, I can do that. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, so the current agreement between the Library Board of Trustees and the school board was signed on August 20th last year and requires 12 public service hours per week. That is where they are currently. They are meeting that requirement just fine. The site supervisor, Deanna Schuler, would like to expand those weekly hours by 4, up to 16 hours per week. Excuse me. In addition, she would also like to be open 1 Saturday per month, which would also be a 4-hour day, and would like 1 additional staff to be allowed to work during their special performers. During summer reading. When we have those outside performers, that tends to be a draw for more kids, more families, and so it helps to have another staff person there. I really don't want to belabor this point. I mean, this is a fairly straightforward proposal. The difference in cost, you can see it's broken down on the back of your blue sheet. The cost estimate for the current year for fiscal year 2021 is in the top table at $8,112. I explained there that, our billing information that we have right now from Leeton is fairly scant, simply because they tend to bill us for several months at a time. And it's been a while since we got a bill from them. But using the billing information that we do have, I have an estimated rate of $13. And again, estimating 12 hours per week times 52 weeks, you get that amount for 2021. Then in 2022, you've got that same amount in your top line with the additional 4 hours per week in row number 2 at $2,704 total for fiscal year 2022. The Saturday hours would be another 4 hours per month. So that would be 48 hours in a year at $624. And then the performance hours, we only have 2 of those performances scheduled for this summer. So you're talking about 2 hours per event, half-hour setup, the hour-long event, and then half-hour cleanup for 1 additional staff. So that's only 4 extra hours over the summer, a total of about $52. So your total additional funds that are being requested for this in Code 6000 is $3,380 for fiscal year 2022. I also did mention in the proposal that though some of these additional hours would be accrued or worked in within the time frame of fiscal year 2021, so in May and June of this year, if this was approved. Because of the billing cycles of both the school district and the library, it's very, very likely, if not almost certain, that those fees or the costs associated with working those hours would all fall into fiscal year 2022. So it would not be for this fiscal year. This would be for next fiscal year.
Are the employees down there belong to Leeton or do they belong to us?
They're all employed by the school district.
And Leeton is asking, the school district, Leeton is asking for these extra hours?
I clarified that. I wanted to make sure I knew, where this request was coming from. This is coming from the site supervisor. She feels pretty strongly that she would be able to better serve some of the individuals in the Leeton community by being open more. She has had some folks request that they have some Saturday hours again. That is something that they have done previously. Unfortunately, we don't have a wealth of usage statistics for that time frame because the previous site supervisor was never trained to use our ILS. So they are using it now, but this would very much be a pilot project that we would want to review as we were drafting the budget for fiscal year 2023 to see how it went, whether we felt that whether the board felt that it was a good investment, if we saw the increased usage that the staff at Leeton are anticipating.
When does our agreement with Leeton expire that we signed August last year?
That is a really good question, Judy. Honestly, I don't know if we have, and several of the board members that are currently here were in on that. I don't know if any of you remember. I can look it up. Hang on just one second.
2 years.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. Let me look.
I would just recommend that they come out together, that we, review them at the same time for possible changes.
Sure.
But you have not talked to the school board or anything about this?
No, I have not.
No, the library has not reached out to the school board.
I'd kind of like to see if they'd be willing to split some of this cost with us.
They're still taking some of the cost in the fact that we give them a flat rate for the labor, that they include all the benefits and stuff that they would normally get. And they get more hours than just sitting in the library for 4 hours.
I think one of the things concerned was too, because again, then they would be open on Saturday, and very seldom were they ever open on Saturday.
Right. They changed the
Yes,
hours
right.
without
Right.
us knowing, yes.
Well,
I'm sorry, Anita, did you say they currently do change those hours, or are you saying?
No, they used to, under the former site supervisor.
Correct, yes,
Hours.
right.
So
It's going
since
much
the-
better with the current agreement, yes. I'm sorry, Carlin, go ahead.
Since this is in the school, this express thing is in the school, I feel like we should have some kind of input from the board that they are willing to have the school open these extra hours. Because they may not be agreeable to that.
We can certainly reach out to them. I do want to clarify, since it was asked, I did find in the agreement, the term of this agreement shall be for 10 years from the date it is executed by the last party to execute it, unless sooner terminated in accordance with its provisions. So obviously there are ways that we can terminate the agreement prior to 10 years, but that's the stated term, and it can be extended for 3 additional 5-year periods.
So this would be changing our contract.
I think the way that I would see it, I'm not an attorney, but the way I would see it is this exceeds our minimum expectations in the agreement. So it wouldn't, I don't think a change to that agreement would be necessary because we simply state a minimum number of 12 hours per week. So if they exceed that, they're still meeting that requirement. I don't know that we would necessarily want to move it so that we require the 16 hours, but obviously if that's the opinion of the board, we could do that.
I would like to get input from the Lincoln School Board.
And would you want them to, Scotty, I just want to make sure that we're doing or having the right kind of contact. Do you want them to have, do you want us to solicit direct interaction with this board? Do you want them to be at a meeting? Are you comfortable with us just asking if they are okay with this proposal?
Well, I think that we should, I think we should hear from the superintendent. I think there should be a discussion.
School board.
School board, excuse me. They sent a representative up here last summer when we signed this agreement, so I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay. So,
so we just have somebody just randomly decide they want more hours and we may have a different idea. So I'd rather have.
Or at least a signature on this piece of paper.
Okay. Okay. Well, I can absolutely reach out to them, or Anita can reach out to them, either one, and we can see kind of where they are. And then we can communicate back to the board what we find out. That's fine. We can play that by ear. If we feel like it's something that we need to have them come to the next board meeting rather than taking care of it between, that will be up to you guys to decide. We can just let you know what they say.
Kyle, can I jump in?
Sure.
Kyle, this is Sarah. I think I should jump in here. Just so you know, if you're thinking about having them physically come, the programs that they are doing are going to take place before the next board meeting, the one that they're trying to get coverage for. So this would have to affect, later, July hours, because the two presentations I've scheduled for them are in June prior to the 16th.
So that's a program that will take place in June that would need 2 hours. Is that correct?
4.
4.
2 additional hours for each program.
Right, but you have two programs coming up in June?
Oh, one.
One, so 2 hours.
Right.
2 extra hours before our next.
I thought she said both programs were before June 16th.
Both
Sarah?
are. Yes, I'm sorry. Both are before June 16th. One is on the 10th and the other one is on, I believe it's on the 3rd.
I think the idea to speak to the superintendent of schools is a good one for liability issues with the school being open, like Carlin was talking about earlier. And I also think that it would be okay to talk with the superintendent explaining these programs that are coming up and asking him or her to fund those until an agreement can be reached, until our board can meet. We're not talking about just scads of money, and I know school districts are, like everybody else, needing money, but at the same time, this would benefit their community terrifically, and I think it would be successful.
So you're saying that ask them to front the money and then we could reimburse them after we work it out? Yeah. That sounds like a good idea.
I'm just surprised that we have 2 programs scheduled there so closely together instead of spreading them out through the summer.
Well, that would be something, I guess, for them. I don't know, might be centered around summer school or something like that too.
It is. We're working with an author. It's a Missouri author is coming, and then Paul Landkammer is actually one of the other presenters coming. And we're trying to get it so that we're reaching those kids when they're in summer school. And those dates were given by the librarian to me.
That's great. That's a great opportunity.
I'm not opposed to this at all. It's just that I feel like we're making decisions about opening a school up that we're not qualified to make that decision.
Well, hopefully they have spoken, community-wise with their people down there and not just brought it up to us, hopefully.
Right. But I'm saying though, I feel like we should have permission from the school board to have the building open more than what it is.
Can we move on?
You okay with this, Kyle?
Yes, I think to Sarah's point, some of the hours that they're requesting, if the board feels like this is a proposal that is worth pursuing, something else that we have done in recent months with other proposals is to approve it pending contact with the other party. And if we wanted to do that, that would allow them to have these additional hours during the summer rather than waiting until June. But that is completely up to you all, whatever you'd like us to do.
So could we vote on the proposal per the school board's agreement? I don't know though, you don't think it's changing our contract? If we were to vote this in and vote it in now and make a contingent that it has to be approved by the school board.
Right.
The extra hours. Because it's gonna change some of their stuff too.
But our contract says a minimum of X number of hours, and this is X plus.
I move that we approve this contingent upon the school board's approval. And there, that's it.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion by Georgia Drummond, second by Judy Walter to approve this pending or contingent upon the Leak School District. Is that correct?
Judy second?
Yes.
Is that correct, Georgia?
That's it.
Okay, Allison Burton,
Yes.
Ron Deckard,
Yes,
Harlan Dillon,
Yes.
Georgia Jarman,
Yes.
Ron McMullen,
Yes.
Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Okay. 9 yeas, 8 yeas.
Okay, we're up to discussion and announcements. I'm going to start. Allison, did you change your mind about renewing your term?
No, I'm not gonna renew my term. Thank you though.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
So we currently have
I didn't hear that.
I asked her today if we want to serve another term, and she said she's not going to.
She's not going to?
Yeah.
Oh.
They're that bad, huh?
So we now
I
have.
enjoy having you.
Thank you.
So we have a vacancy in Johnson County still. No,
No.
2 vacancies in Lafayette.
Yeah, she's in
Yeah.
Lafayette County.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
Lafayette.
in Johnson County.
Georgia knew someone that might be interested.
Yes, I do, and I've reached out and haven't heard back. I need to follow up. I apologize that I didn't do that before this meeting.
And where was she from?
She's from the Odessa area, which would be nice to have somebody
Yeah.
from that end of Lafayette
And
County.
we also don't have anybody from Concordia.
Right.
What about Penelope?
She said no.
She was so good.
She's not comfortable driving at night.
Okay.
Well, is that what it takes to get out of this?
Either that or you move the meetings to your location.
the person at Odessa that used to run the newspaper and everything, kind of retired with her daughter there, but she always wanted to be on the board previously. But that's when, put Allison on and instead of her, that's when I.
Spar,
Hannah.
Hannah Spar.
Yeah.
We could reach out to Hannah and see if
See,
she's
she still
interested.
wants to. Her daughter, I think, running the newspaper now. Maybe we don't want it. I don't know. We just see it if anybody's interested.
And we still have a vacancy for the foundation board, which did not meet this month, this quarter yet, because I don't know how to get all the financials, so that's on hold. And that would be to replace Ken Messer. He would have known how to get the financials, so I missed that. The other announcement or the other discussion item is masks. I did not have that on the agenda because at the time the agenda was set, Lafayette County still had their mask order in effect. It has now since been rescinded effective June the 1st. Johnson County has already rescinded theirs. I spoke to Doug Harris today. I asked him, what do we need to do? And he said, if we never approved a mask order as policy, which I don't think we did, then we can just rescind it to follow county health orders. I still think while we can't require masks in the library, I still think we should have signs up that it's encouraged. That's just my opinion.
What do your employees say? Anita, how would they feel?
I have, on both sides of the fence. I have some that can't wait to stop wearing masks and face shields. And then I have probably just as many that want to keep and would not feel comfortable or safe in an environment with masks and face shields. If we didn't have them.
Population in general.
Yeah.
Well, the people that I've heard from at the Waverly branch said they have had a ton of negative feedback, that people complain, and they have one lady that brings her 4 grandchildren, and one of them has to stay outside while the others go in and stuff like that. And they're just fed up with it. They would very much like to do away with it.
Lexington has dropped their mandate, but a lot of them wants to wear them. So
There's no
like
place
Mayor
else.
said, if you want to wear them, you wear them. You don't want to wear them, then don't wear them.
There's no place else in Waverly. I don't think that requires it. The restaurants don't require it. The Dollar General doesn't require it. The bank doesn't require it. So why is the library,
Well, I think.
Because the interim director is mean.
Well, you can wear yours.
I think it's hurting business. I think that it's causing people they're going to other libraries.
As a businessman, I will say that it's not hurting business. Not everybody walks in and wears a mask, but most people see me with my mask on and they will put it on. And they don't argue about it. I mean, some people walk in without it and I've never let it bother me.
But do you pull it down like that when you talk to them?
That drive to Carrollton to the library.
Oh, we have people from Carrollton coming to Waverly.
Well,
It depends on.
It's not an easy situation.
It's not.
But
No, it is.
whatever happened to being nice to your fellow creatures? I wear a mask 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I'm not dead because it's not killing me. I don't like it, and I'll say I don't like it, but I do it because I want to be nice to my fellow mankind. And
Well, I think Scotty's original point of we can't enforce it in most communities, but maybe still to require it.
Anybody that feels more comfortable wearing a mask could certainly do it. I mean, nobody's going to tell them to take their mask off.
well, one thing, I'll bring this up. One thing that if we do decide to do away with the mask, And this happened to me a couple weeks ago. We went to a restaurant in Holden, and Paula and I walked in with our mask on. There was nobody at the front at the time, but shortly thereafter, another couple came in and they had their mask on. And I happen to know this woman is going through cancer treatments. And the lady at the counter, or whatever you want to call it, yelled out, "You don't have to wear a mask in here." It's like, I did not think that was appropriate to tell somebody they didn't have to wear a mask. And I certainly would not want our staff to tell somebody they didn't have to wear a mask. I would want our staff to make people feel welcome either way.
I think they will.
That's fine. It's up to them whether they want to or not.
Yeah.
It's up to staff whether they want to or not.
And we'll have complaints of, I don't want to work next to the person who is not
Well,
wearing a
then
mask.
they
Or
can
look
wear a
at
mask.
it.
But
There's no easy
there's
answer.
no,
They're going to
but
be exposed to people at the grocery store, at the doctor's office, and they're going to be exposed to people that have not had their shots, period. Whether it's at the library or somewhere else.
If you've had your inoculations or been exposed and incurred COVID already, you have an immunity of some sort. I'm not saying how strong that immunity is, but that should give you a little bit of reassurance.
I think we should move to encourage and not
Mask wearing,
require.
right?
and are you anticipating problems among staff that want to or don't want to? I mean, we could have a problem on our hand. We could have
We
half the
could,
staff walk out.
that don't feel safe. And OSHA does, they came out with their ruling that as employers, you have to keep your staff safe. If someone doesn't feel safe, you have to do whatever it takes to make them feel safe. If they don't want to work next to someone who doesn't wear a mask, then you either have to move one of those, keep them apart. It's a mess.
Okay, what if you made employees still have to wear a mask, but people coming in can or cannot?
I've seen that in restaurants.
We have businesses like that here in town that do that.
I'd be okay with that because we have the shields up to help keep staff. I'm sure I'll have some staff complaining that because they don't want to wear masks of how come I still have to wear a mask, but yet patrons get to come in without them if they so choose.
I don't think staff should have to.
But all the stores and a restaurant, whatever that I've gone into, all the employees are still masked.
Yeah.
Now, we have some restaurants here in Warrensburg that staff, the waiters and waitresses do not wear masks anymore, nor do they ask patrons to wear masks.
They've got those shields there.
Like we do.
So why should they wear masks? I don't see it.
And some are afraid of.
I think it's fine to encourage people to do what they want to.
I think it's okay to blame the board. The board wants you to wear.
Now, I am comfortable with upping the occupancy numbers that we have. I think that would help greatly. And, you know, if we increase the number of people who can be in here and still have everybody to wear masks, ask everybody to continue to wear masks here. Firm's not going for it, but,
It's an awfully big building though,
Huh?
a very big building.
But not all our buildings are.
Just as the one in Knob-Noster is now. When we go to Porter and Waverly, we're a little more condensed there, and you're not gonna get 20 people in each of those buildings.
Porter is larger than Waverly's, I feel.
Yes, has more square feet than.
I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I called Mid-Continent today because earlier in the week, they still had a mask policy. And I called today and they said that They don't enforce it, but they strongly encourage it.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know what they do with their employees. I didn't ask about that. But,
I think it's fine to encourage it if people want to.
Well,
Is that why we have some people still working from home? You must know who I'm talking about.
People.
do we have people working from home?
Yes.
I,
How many?
I thought we were told that everybody was back at work.
Well, they are working, but they're putting in their full 8 hours. They're just not physically in the building. And their job is such that they can.
Well, we have a tough situation. It's tough for everybody. I would just recommend that if we're gonna do away with it, other than encouragement, we better have a plan for employees that don't want to work in an unmasked.
I think we should lift the number of people that can be in the building. I don't think we should enforce that anymore. If Royal Stadium can open up to full capacity, then what's a library? How many people at a time are in a library?
Well,
That's all money though.
now, we're,
I mean, I know you're enclosed and that's outside.
right. We are starting to hit capacity more often in our branches than we were, 3 weeks ago, which we weren't hitting capacity, but rarely. But, school's about to get out, people are starting to get out more. So we are starting to get to a capacity, which was the COVID numbers, which are low capacity. And I'm thinking if we keep the masks going and the shields up, we could lift the occupancy number and let people come in. We still don't have tables and chairs and the couches out. And I have not heard a single complaint from a patron of why can't I sit down?
We had two the other morning at two of them, two different people came in and says, where's the chairs? Where's the tables?
Yeah.
And they turned around and walked out. And that was Friday morning.
So what do we want to do?
I make a motion that we drop
I
the,
don't think we need a motion, we just need,
okay. I suggest that we relax the distance requirements and the mask requirements and just encourage people to wear it.
the distance requirements and the mask requirements, or the building capacity?
All of it.
Because, I mean, if we're gonna do it in mask, I still think we should have the 6 feet apart.
But what is the capacity of this building, for instance?
CDC says we don't need that.
I know, but 2 weeks earlier, they said we needed it, so, I mean,
Well, most generally, if people are standing closer than 6 feet, they've all come in together. So they've been closer than 6 feet in the car or at home or wherever they've been. And most generally in a library, strangers don't, I have never been in a library and had a stranger come up and breathe down my neck as I'm looking at a book.
did you ever know Greg Cochran?
Maybe the point is he doesn't know me. I don't really think requiring people to be 6 feet apart is a problem.
No, but I don't think we should take down the signs. Do we have signs anymore?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we should
Signs
take-
everywhere.
I don't
Please
think we
wear.
should take those signs down.
I think we should say they recommend them instead of requiring them.
I think we should expand opportunities for people to come in, and that we should ask our staff to wear masks.
So what I'm hearing is lift the occupancy levels the more people can come in and staff still wear masks.
Well, that's what I think.
And Fern prefers
I think it should be up
relaxed
to the staff whether they want to wear them or not.
But like you said, we've got the shields here.
They have gotten their vaccinations. It's available to all ages now. So anybody that's concerned about getting COVID should have their shots. If they don't want to get their shots, then they run no risk. That's how I feel.
I think because we don't know, fortunately, we don't light up neon if we've all had the shots or anything like that. And so we can't reliably know whether people are vaccinated or not. And if we have some protection in place, I think people who deal with the public.
Not everybody goes to Walmart, Fern, sorry, but there's a lot of people that won't go into big stores still. I see these people all the time. I know some people think the world revolves around Walmart, but I've got customers who will not go into a big store.
Dollar General does.
I got customers that will not go into a place like that because those companies don't care. So I'm just saying that we can't use, well, people go to Walmart, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, what I'm saying is they're gonna be exposed other places, whether it's Walmart or someplace else.
Or church.
They're gonna-
Grocery store, or church.
Out in the public, they're gonna be exposed.
If they don't feel comfortable being in the public,
We
it
still
isn't
have-
wearing a mask,
we-
they aren't
we
gonna
still
be
have-
there.
We still have the curbside service, correct?
Yes.
And that's not going away.
No.
And that's still appreciated too. I know on the reports that they put in, I think just about every location said the patrons were very happy that they were able to come in to the library and roam or visit or whatever.
And browse.
Along with that, we've had a lot of people asking when the meeting rooms are gonna open up again.
Me too.
We don't issue rubber gloves so they can come in and look at the books.
And we don't
I
make them
guarantee you there
disinfect
are more
them.
germs floating around on the books than there are.
We've got staff that want to start the children's programs.
And they aren't doing children's programs, we're just doing them outside.
Why are we doing that? I mean, it's raining.
Oh, and it's
It's gonna be getting very hot pretty soon, muggy, and we need to, and we spent all kinds of bukus of money getting tents and all this other stuff for them to do it in. We could have stayed in air conditioning buildings, dry.
Children in our school district are still wearing masks and they're unprotected. And I think that we need to advocate for them. I think we need to advocate for people who have autoimmune deficiencies and other kinds of situations that make them vulnerable.
And as it is right now, only 12 and up can get a vaccination, so.
That's right.
The younger set can't.
But we do have some rooms, meeting rooms and children's rooms that are large enough for them to spread out in. And they should be able to use them.
Yes.
Well, in a lot of our places, that's where we have the quarantine material.
They could use another area for that. They don't need this huge room to do that in.
What do they do?
We just need to give Anita a firm.
Which way do you want me to jump?
You're in.
Well, okay, why don't we take baby steps since we can't agree? Let's take a baby step. So we'll raise capacity. And if someone doesn't wear a mask, we're not gonna enforce, we could encourage and say, wouldn't you feel more comfortable with a mask on?
We have masks available if you would like one.
No, we don't want to do that.
Or just don't,
Just a sign that says masks are encouraged.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we need to say
and
anything.
is that the same with staff and,
Mhm.
Well, I don't know, I was only thinking about patrons when I brought this up, so. I don't know, I don't know, it's,
they can I feel like staff can distance themselves from people coming in. It's the person that they work with, that they sit in the same office with, or they sit behind the desk with, that maybe they don't feel comfortable without wearing a mask. I don't know.
But we have so few.
Well, but I'm just.
I mean, our
I'm
staff
just
is
saying,
down
though.
so low that we don't have that problem. There's only one in the building.
Shields in front of the
Yes,
staff.
I want to keep those definitely.
So.
But what I was saying was, what if we just took a baby step and just raised the capacity?
encourage the mask, but not require
For patrons,
For patrons. Leave
but
staff
staff
wear.
still wear masks in the building.
Right. And then
For a week or
maybe
two.
readdress it.
We can
Next meeting.
readdress it next month.
I like that plan.
See how it goes.
How do you two feel about masks are required for employees?
Are you asking me, ma'am?
Both of you, you and Karen, both.
That's good, yeah. Go ahead, Blue.
I kind of fall on the side of Fern that it's a choice. And there are a few other board members that said there are precautions that you're able to take if you choose to. I also really agree with Scotty of the idea that you should not punish anybody who feels that they need to make those accommodations while still offering curbside service, offering, like not disrespecting their choice to wear masks, and fully encourage everyone to have that choice. And I would say even after you, everything is fully lifted, no restrictions, at no point should you judge anybody for having a mask. Because, that's, they could have several things going on in their life that you don't know. So yeah, that's definitely where I feel is that, there are ways you can protect yourself if you definitely choose to. And if you don't want to come in at all, we can still offer curbside and make sure you're fully
But what
protected.
about employees?
Oh, that's what I'm saying, everyone would have to try.
I'm sorry if I missed that.
Oh, no, you're fine. You just speculated that, we are not littered with staff members. I cannot even here, you have 12 feet from two people. And Scotty was saying still, if you still feel maintaining 6 feet, that's always been the rule of thumb is that, spacing is a way to keep yourself.
I mean, I feel like if somebody was uncomfortable and asked me to wear a mask, I would wear a mask. If a patron come in and says, I'm uncomfortable with it, could you wear a mask? Well, you says, I would wear a mask. But that's me.
Karen would just go up in her office and shut the door.
And that's what I was gonna say. My situation is different because I am in my office all day with the door closed, but when I come out, I put my mask on. And for me personally, I will continue to do that because I know of people in this building with health issues. And so even though I've been vaccinated and probably have already had COVID, and I don't want to get it again, I just feel like I need to be wearing a mask. I'm not going to ask somebody to wear a mask around me. I'll just leave. I mean, because I get out more now and I see that there are a lot of people walking around without a mask on. I just don't stay around them. I just maneuver around that. And it's just, it is, as Scotty said, to me, it's just a courtesy. It's just, and also after a year, I'm gonna be honest, I have a little PTSD. All of y'all look like carriers to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not for a long time going to be walking out of my house without a mask on. I'm just not.
So we need to wrap this up because we could talk all night. I don't want to talk all
Yeah, we
night.
could.
Are we okay with increasing capacity?
Changing signs for patrons, masks are encouraged.
Masks encouraged, but not required? Or does it have to say not required?
No, just say masks are encouraged.
Encouraged, yeah.
Masks are encouraged.
But I think that by the same token, then, like on what Luke said,
Or, no, but,
Yeah, my name's Lou.
yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, you're good.
It's today.
I don't think we should
I'll
then
answer this
have to
later.
require the staff to do it. No need to.
Okay, but I can open another can of worms here.
I know,
Why,
I know.
why does Luke's opinion override somebody whose opinion needs a mask?
Because Karen just said that she will wear it if they're encouraged
Right.
for staff members too. And if they don't feel comfortable without one, or if they don't feel comfortable, 3 feet apart from somebody else, they can move.
And something else, if somebody comes into my office, I want them to have a mask on.
And you can say that.
Yes, but I have I can say that because it's my office.
So can we say that employees, if they don't want to wear a mask, don't have to, but if they come in contact with somebody who is employee or staff or patron, if they can put it up? It's just their handy if they need to?
Wear it if.
I think we need to be very clear.
Mhm.
Yes, I think we could do that.
I think you need to be
Maybe
clear.
don't say anything until a situation comes up, and that would be our policy.
I'm just thinking that Luke doesn't want to wear one, and that's fine. But if he encounters an employee or a staff do you encounter patrons or no?
Yeah, I encounter everybody.
Okay, so if an employee chooses not to wear one, but if they come in contact with an employee or a staff or a patron who does, they should just put it up until they're no longer encountering. That's not fair. There you go. Anita.
That sounds like a CDC.
I see. There's no easy, we can try it. I can see arguments of, I don't want to wear it. You tell me, because we work next to each other, you tell me, no, you need to wear it because I don't feel comfortable. Well, poo on you. I've been here longer than you have. I don't want to wear it. And you're more than 6 feet apart.
Employees are
But
forced to
not
be here.
always.
Where you are
always.
now.
Well, we are now, but if we were working behind some desk,
Side by
we
side,
may
it's a
not
different
be
story.
6 feet apart.
I think we have an issue with saying masks encouraged on our door and then having our people inside who work here not wearing masks. I went to a graduation ceremony last year where everybody who attended had to wear a mask. And of course, COVID was really serious at that point. Grandma and grandpa and every person. And when you looked in the stands in that auditorium, you saw masks. Those graduates came in, they all had masks. The Board of Education came in and 4 had masks and 3 didn't. Now, how does that look to the public when we're saying, masks are encouraged, but because I have this privilege, I'm not going to wear the mask? I think we should err on the side of caution. And I think we should ask people who work here to wear a mask.
Health situations they have either.
What's that?
I said, you don't know what kind of health situations they have either.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Well, other than the ones that are working from home,
No comment.
if you're here at your job, you don't have the privilege of leaving. If you feel uncomfortable, you don't have that privilege.
That's right.
Someone coming in and out of the door, they're just here for a short time and they go back out. So, whatever they do, but I feel like employees should still be required to wear a mask. And encourage other people that are coming in and out to wear one, but they don't have to.
Let's go a month.
Okay.
That's good. That's pretty good.
And raise capacity.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what I'm hearing as the directive now. Raise capacity, basically open it back up, like you said, the capacity. I mean, other than the fire capacity. Patrons will put up signs, masks are encouraged. Staff still are to wear masks while at work. Okay. All right.
To be reviewed.
To be reviewed in June.
And probably July.
And then it'll start back up in October, so.
Yeah.
Okay, the only other announcement I had was, at the last meeting, I'd asked, can we require staff to be vaccinated? And Judy said yes, I said yes, the rest said no. So I checked with Doug Harris, and his answer was yes. But then the second part of his answer is, don't do it. So there's the answer to that.
Thanks for calling.
I have some announcements.
Okay,
Woohoo! Happy announcements. If you all watch KMOS, keep your eyes peeled. You will start seeing advertisements for Trails Regional Library summer reading program. They are so cute. We had a writing contest. 2 of the winners are reading part of their story, and their pictures that they drew are up. It is so sweet. So keep your eyes peeled for KMOS, and keep your eyes on the electronic billboard on North McGuire Street, right before you get to Walmart and Pizza Hut's there, because Trails Regional Library Summer Reading Program is going to be showing up on that billboard. All of that advertising is paid for from a grant from the Missouri State Library that our own Sarah Evans wrote, and got this all going with the marketing team we have, which is just absolutely awesome.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thrilled. And then lastly, I just want to point out the self-checks are all up and running, and people are using them and are thrilled with it.
will we get any kind of a report of how often they're used?
You betcha.
Okay.
I hope.
I would like to know how
I
often.
think they are. Yeah. Do you know what branch had the first patrons use it?
I don't know.
Holden. Right after they first got to where we still had coming soon, patron walked in and said, "Can I use this?" Sure, it was working. They used it. They were as happy as clams.
All righty. Anything else?
I think that publicity that Anita just talked about is great,
Yeah.
but there's still thousands of them out there that don't know we're open. Last night on the Warrensburg Facebook page, whatever you want to call it, there were people that didn't know we were open. And I put in a little blurb, yes, go to the library. They're gonna be doing good things,
There's people in Holden that don't.
you know?
want to, so.
And I'm talking a big town, and this is where we have the publicity.
We have a direct mail campaign coming soon as well, paid by the grant, so they'll get it in their mailbox as well.
If they read it.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I would need a motion to go into closed session, please.
So moved.
Second that.
All right, we have a motion to go into closed session by Georgia German, seconded by Stephen Walter.
I do need to do a vote.
We'll need a roll call.
Allison Burton.
Yeah.
Bird, Guthrie. Carly Dillon.
Yes.
Georgia Jarman.
Yes.
Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Judy Tyler. Yes. Judy Walker. Yes. Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Woo.
Okay,
Now, if you let us have some time to get out of here.
okay.
Now, I will have to stay, because these doors don't lock behind you.